Many of the children that come to work with me and that I see in institutions and other places and in families are holding lots of fear and anxiety. There are a lot of problems with sleeping and interacting socially. Even going to school is traumatic for some children. So one of the important things in working with these activities is to release fear. I had a young boy come, he was about 5 years of age, diagnosed with autism, and he was quite fearful in the beginning. So we did some balloon play, develop rapport, raise the vibrations so he felt comfortable, so that he trusted me. And so when we started working with the animal movements, I asked him what animal that he liked, and he said, "Me chipmunk, me chipmunk." And so then we played the chipmunk. We did a lot of good activity with that, as much as possible. Did some other play, some other integrative movement. And as we worked through these things, he developed more trust. We did more activities. We were able to actually take him through a rebirthing bonding dynamic, which was very beautiful. And at the end, I was talking to him again, and he wanted to be another animal. And when we finished the session, I said, "Well, what animal are you now?" And he said, "Me tiger, me tiger." So he had actually incorporated the strength of the tiger and kind of leaving, nothing against chipmunks, but they don't quite have the same essence as the tiger does. Another girl that I worked with once in New York, I call her the spinning girl, because she inherently seemed to know exactly what she needed to do to release these patterns. And we call this honoring the movements of the child, drawing out what they need, because on a deep level, they know what is necessary for them to create the greatest change and progress possible. So when we began, she was not the easiest girl to work with. She had lots of challenges. I couldn't understand her speech. She had physical coordination problems, had academic challenges, and also social challenges, obviously, because of the speech difficulty. So in the beginning, we started doing follow the leader. And I was the leader, and it wasn't long before she became the leader. And we did all kinds of spinning, hopping movements, dancing movements that she wanted to do. And then we went out into this other space and started to do some spinning. And she really got into the spinning and was spinning, and then she would fall down and get up and just kept going, like there was something got turned on inside of her to release these patterns through spinning. And I knew that there was a lot more going on than just her doing this work, because I was feeling tremendous emotion, as if there were other energies there with us. The woman that was working with me noticed the same thing. And after we finished the spinning, I mentioned to the woman, I said, "Did you see that girl spin? It seemed like 15 minutes. And she said, "John, I timed it. She spun for 25 minutes to clear these patterns. And you could see her physical coordination change and become more balanced and more present." And I worked with patterns related to speech, their early developmental movements, grasping patterns, patterns with oral reflexes, a lot of things that can be integrated easily with kids. And then to finish it off, she started saying, "Well, where's my mother? Where's my mother?" So I knew that intuitively there had been some kind of abandonment issue in the past. So we took her through with her mom. We did her rebirthing and a rebonding. And her mother, after that session, noticed some really good changes. I noticed myself, when we finished, that I could understand her speech. And each year that I came back there, I worked with her about 3 times. And then the last time we called to see if she was interested. And the mom said, "You know, we really don't need any more work. She's doing so fine academically and socially that we feel that it's just not necessary at this point." One time I was working in Seattle in an inner city school. They chose about 6 of the most challenging kids for me to work with. And one of them, he had a reading challenge. He was very hyper. It was difficult for him to sit still. He was having trouble actually being in class. Teacher had lots of problems with him. But when I worked with him, on some level he knew that this is what he needed to do. So when we started, I asked him, if you could change anything about yourself or do something easier or better, what would you do? He said, well, I like to jump on a pogo stick better. And I could just imagine his teacher watching my session having all these problems and thinking, oh yeah, great, John, he's going to jump on a pogo stick better. But creating balance is really important in many ways, and particularly the activity gave him the motivation. So we pretended we were jumping on the pogo stick. We did other kinds of balancing activities and spinning, walking on one leg, closing our eyes. And then we got into doing early developmental work, lots of play, loved working with balloons, loved working with the animals. We were able to do a repatterning, and he was very cooperative, and I had lots of fun with him. So the next week he came back, and I said to him, how have you been doing? Have you been doing any pogo stick jumping? He said, we've been doing that in gym. He said, that's why I wanted to do better. And he said, you know, I'm one of the better pogo stick jumpers now. He said, I'm really good, and I feel good about that. And so that was an important thing for me to learn, because if you try to force a kid to do something that we think they need to change, like their behavior or sitting still or reading or whatever, they may not really care about that. But he cared about pogo stick jumping. So after that, then we were able to lead him into other areas related to reading, related to behavior. And he became a good reader. He became actually one of the better students in the class by the time he finished the 6th grade. So the key here is when children learn that they can change, that's something that they know for life. And then we begin to teach them how to do these changes all by themselves when they notice a pattern, notice something that's not working for them, regardless of what it is.